You have about 10 seconds to get somebody's attention before they click off. So, Eminem just released a brand new single, the first single in quite some time, and it's really, really good. The track Houdini has already been viewed over 13 million times as of the recording of this video, and I suspect it's gonna be a lot more by the time I post it. But there is some stuff in it which you might have missed, which not only hints at what you can expect from the next Eminem album, but also the future of the Slim Shady character. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the track starts with one of the classic Paul Rosenberg skits, which we haven't heard in a couple of albums. Paul basically tells Eminem good luck, and honestly, I think it's the best way to start the album rollout for the death of Slim Shady. The song itself then starts with the classic Guess Who's Back? Back Again, which Eminem first did in Without Me. And at this point I want to point out that this entire music video is based around that original Without Me music video. So if you're a younger stan and you haven't watched the Without Me music video, make sure to watch it because it'll tie up a lot of loose ends and some of the questions you might have about what some of this stuff means. And I'm going to make a couple references to the Without Me video as we continue. So Eminem is in bed and Dre calls him to tell him, we have a problem. That problem is that a portal from 2002 has opened and none other than Slim Shady has walked through and is now seeing 2024 in all of its glory. Fucking dust at the camera. He looks around and he sees Instagram, TikTok, selfie stick models, robotic automation, and virtual reality. And he wonders what the fuck happened. And then just like the Without Me video, we see this sort of like comic book style thing of everybody saying guess who's back. And we see a lot of cameos in this small little 5-second section. In just a few seconds, we see 50 Cent, Grip, Boogie, Snoop Dogg, as well as Jimmy Iovine and Paul Rosenberg both playing a priest and a rabbi. We also see this bunny character, which at first glance doesn't mean anything, but this bunny was in the original Without Me music video. We then see the shot of Eminem and Slim Shady standing next to each other having some sort of dance-off, and they're both kind of embarrassed by the other person. I do think that this dance battle between Slim Shady and Eminem is representing that Slim Shady would be embarrassed at what Eminem has become, and Eminem is embarrassed at what Slim Shady was. So one of the first things we see is Slim Shady pull up to the cypher, and in attendance of this cypher is Easy Mill as well as producer The Alchemist. Eminem kind of looks around the cypher and sees everybody dancing, and again, he's wondering what the fuck. And I think he's just kind of confused because a 1990s cypher is nothing like a 2020 cypher. And I do want to point out one line Eminem says right here, which is, if I was to ever take a leave, it would be aspirin to break a fever. The reason I want to point this out is that some people have worried that the death of Slim Shady is going to be the final album for Eminem. And besides the fact that that would be crazy, why would Eminem quit rapping? But I think this line shows that Eminem has no plans on leaving. Eminem's basically saying he's not leaving, so shut up. Eminem is then told that Rap Boy is needed. Rat Boy is the superhero character which was introduced in the Without Me video. Now in the original Without Me video, when Eminem leans up, so do two famous adult film actresses by the name of Jenna Jameson and Kiana Tom. And just like that video, it happens again with two different adult actresses. These actresses are Ryan Keeley and Samantha Mack. I don't watch that kind of stuff, so I have to read what their names are. And this is just another cool callback to that video. We then see Rap Boy suit up once more, and he jumps off the bed and it says Rap Boy, just like the original Without Me video. However, this time, Eminem lands on his face, which I think could be Eminem kind of saying, you know, I'm getting too old for this. But then Eminem says this line, which has become one of the main talking points of this song, about rapper Megan Thee Stallion. Eminem says that if he ever asked Megan Thee Stallion to collaborate, would he have a shot at her feet? Now, if you don't know, Megan Thee Stallion had a really weird situation happen with rapper Tory Lanez, where she claimed he shot her in the foot.
Hey guys, it's Future Kobe here. I just wanted to break in real quick and clarify that I misspoke. I said that Megan Thee Stallion claimed Tory Lanez shot her, but he was convicted of it. So he was found guilty of shooting Megan Thee Stallion. I just wanted to clear that up. I didn't want to make it seem like I'm, trying to say he didn't do it or something. So, you don't have to comment anything bad now. But let's go back to past Kobe and finish this video.
So when Eminem says shot at her feet, he's referencing this situation. At this point, the chorus breaks in, which is a sample slash full reworking of the chorus of the classic Steve Miller Band song, Abracadabra. And if you haven't heard that song, you really need to hear it because it's a banger. Abracadabra. That's the literal chorus of that Steve Miller Band song. Eminem gets in the Rapmobile, and just like in Without Me, Dre is driving. And Dre points out the fact that Eminem is still dressing like this. The car starts speeding through the streets, and they have this little cell phone type device which is tracking the whereabouts of Slim Shady. Eminem then tells Dre that Slim Shady is getting away multiple times, which is represented by multiple speech bubbles popping up. Eminem and Dre get into a little bit of a scuffle, and during the scuffle you can actually hear a I can't do it, but from Just Lose It, you know what I'm talking about. Either way, they start vibing again. We then see Slim Shady enter into some sort of soccer stadium where a bunch of kids are getting trophies that literally say, "You're all winners," which is a reference to the classic saying that everybody gets participation trophies in today's generation. He then says he'll literally hit a kid with a trophy, which he literally does. He then picks up a megaphone and says that the world's going to turn into some Girl Scouts and that the Censorship Bureau is out to get him. Eminem, who was watching the whole thing, tells Dre that Slim is trying to get him canceled, so Em and Dre take off even faster. Eminem's mouth then does that leaf blower effect, and it doesn't add anything, I just think it's funny. Slim makes it to a quote-unquote communications tower, which is some sort of broadcast building where a podcast is currently taking place. This podcast is hosted by Shane Gillis, who is interviewing rappers Royce da 5'9" and producer and rapper Mr. Porter. On the track, Eminem claims to be the fight that you get in whenever you debate who the best rapper is, which is the exact debate that Shane, Royce, and Mr. Porter are having. Slim barges in, kinda looks around, and then he wrecks the place, but steals a mic in the process. Meanwhile, Eminem himself has made it to the communications tower, and begins scaling the side of the building just like he did in Without Me. Only this time he falls while doing it, which again I think could be him hinting at he's getting too old for this. You know, he's not young and spunky like he used to be, so he can't climb it without tripping a few times. He makes it to the top where he finds Slim Shady plugging in that microphone he stole, and he's trying to turn on the tower so he can broadcast his raps to the world once more. Eminem then steals the mic from Slim Shady the same way he took the CD from the kid in the Without Me video. I think this video is representing that old cliche saying of you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. Because in Without Me, Slim Shady was the hero saving the day. But in Houdini, Eminem is trying to stop Slim Shady. And at this point, Slim and Eminem face off. Meanwhile, we hear Eminem talk about what he thinks the old him would have to say about the world today. Em and Slim go in for this slow motion punch, and when the punch finally lands, there's this large explosion, and when the smoke settles, we're left with this weird Slim Shady Eminem hybrid with blonde hair and a black beard. We are left with Slim and Em. There's a bubble that pops up on the screen that says they created a monster, which is yet another reference to Without Me, which literally starts with, I created a monster, nobody wants to see Marshall no more. Eminem then plugs in the mic, and he begins his third verse, which has arguably some of the most controversial bars in it. Now, the first few bars, he's just kind of going hard, but he makes this reference to R. Kelly, where he says, listening to R. Kelly's favorite band, the Black Guy Peas. And if you don't know, I can't really say what R. Kelly got in trouble for, but he got into some trouble. Slim and Em then turns on the tower, which sends this beam into space, which hits a satellite and broadcasts his verse to the entire world. And everybody who's receiving the verse on their phone begins to become Slim and Em hybrids themselves. He then makes reference to his fictitious pet Siamese cat who is transgender. He says it identifies as black and acts Chinese. And I don't think he meant to do it, but this is kind of a reference to Vlone, that Twitter user who will Photoshop people as black or Chinese. I don't think Eminem meant this reference, but Eminem has a weird sense of humor, so it wouldn't shock me if Eminem knew who Vlone was. This then reveals Eminem standing in front of a group of these Slim and Em hybrids, which kind of reminded me of the real Slim Shady. Eminem then returns to the Rapmobile, and Dre gives him this funny look. He then says he's gonna say whatever he wants to say, and he dares Paul to quit. He then calls Paul a male crossdresser, while holding up a picture of him in drag from Just Lose It and Without Me. He realizes he might get some flack for what he's saying, but he says he doesn't care and fuck everybody. Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine, himself, the viewer, and his very own kids. And his kids even make a cameo, which I think is pretty cool. He then references how big his testicles are and says they're as big as RuPaul's, which doesn't have any like grander meaning. He's just basically saying RuPaul has testicles. Dre gets fed up with it and leaves the car, but Eminem doesn't care. But the next bar I wanted to highlight because I think it's gone over some people's heads. Eminem says you're never going to see him caught sleeping, which is him basically saying you're never going to see him fall off. He then says you'll never see the kidnapping, which is a double entendre written as kidnapping, and then references Sherry Papini, who was a woman who literally faked her own kidnapping in 2016. The car then gets a new driver, which is none other than Pete Davidson. Pete is also Slim and Em'd, and he gets in the car and tells Eminem, "Don't worry, I just got my license back." We then get this shot of Eminem and Slim dancing side by side, which I think might point to this idea that Slim and Eminem can coexist, but we'll have to wait for the album to see if that's true. The video ends with Eminem and Pete Davidson driving off into the sunset together, but hitting almost every car along the way. And if you don't know, Pete Davidson has reckless driving charges on his record, so it's a pretty funny way to end the video. And that is it. That is the entire video. I enjoyed it immensely, and it made me really excited for what's coming next. But how did everybody else react to it? For the most part, people are reacting positively to the song, especially LeBron James, who's tweeted it multiple times at this point. The Steve Miller Band has also made a post on Instagram basically praising Eminem for creating something original while respecting the artist before him. However, some people are upset with that Megan Thee Stallion line, which has become the go-to for some of those clickbait news sites. To me, it didn't really seem like Eminem was taking sides or dissing Megan. He was just kind of making reference to it, which is something Eminem has always done. Like, literally, have you guys never listened to an Eminem song before? But the main reaction is that people are pretty excited for the new album, which is a great segue into this final section. Looking at this song, what can we predict is coming for the death of Slim Shady? Now, I think it's pretty obvious it's going to be some sort of concept album, a story album. And with a name like The Death of Slim Shady, I at first thought that it was going to be the end of Slim Shady. However, this video has kind of given me new thoughts into that. I believe throughout the album, we're going to see Eminem hunting down Slim Shady with the intent of unaliving him. But I personally don't think Slim Shady is going to die at the end of the album. I personally think we're going to see some sort of combination of the two characters, and for the rest of history, we're going to get Slim and M. So we're not going to get the shock value confrontational tracks you would expect from Slim, and we're not going to get the lyrical miracleness that you would expect from Eminem, and instead he's going to take the best from both of those two characters and just make music like that. Another idea I had for the album was that perhaps Slim Shady is going to be saying and doing shocking shit the whole time, while Eminem is trying to stop him and do damage control. But if the album ends with Slim Shady dying, I won't be shocked. And with just a few smaller predictions, I wouldn't be shocked to see a D12 feature, as if this is the last hurrah for Shady, it might be cool to get the band back together one last time. And I also expect a full-blown offensive Slim Shady track just like the old days. Especially if Slim Shady dies at the end, I think Slim Shady's going to take one last stand at the world before the character is hung up forever. And finally, I think there's a good chance that we're going to see a sampling of his old works throughout the album, which gives Eminem a chance to address his past and speak his mind on what he used to be. One thing is for sure though, I'm so ready for this album. And I know you are too, so that being said, I am going to be doing some more of these Eminem videos as we get closer to the album, and you can expect a full-blown album critique when the album comes out. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for it, and I'm here for the summer of Shady. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe. I'm doing a giveaway every 1,000 subscribers, and like the video. That helps me out a lot. But I guess that's it, so please, have a good day, enjoy the rest of your summer, and remember, Kobe sucks.